Hey everybody, it's Matt Shute from Upright Health, and we are at day 16 following my knee injury. So, quick update, I went to St. Louis. I went to a wedding with the appropriate amount of stretching, which was actually not all that much, all things considered. Probably a couple minutes here and there throughout the day, a couple seconds, just throwing my foot up to do a little bit of a stretch, or while sitting, doing a little bit of a stretch. I made it through this whole long wedding weekend. It was lots of fun. We did some really physical stuff at the City Museum in St. Louis. If you've never been there, don't know what I'm talking about, definitely go check it out. It's called the City Museum. It is an amazing playground for kids and adults who are young at heart. It is a crazy, amazing playground. So I was able to do a lot of physical stuff. Dancing was absolutely no problem. I was able to do everything and anything I wanted to do. I was able to get very low without a problem. You might have just heard a little pop, but it's not a big deal. Moving around here seems like okay. What I have noticed is a lot of sitting tends to bother the knee, so I've actually been sitting this morning for about 2.5 hours working on various projects. So I'm actually at a tighter moment right now than I normally would be. Standing doesn't really seem to help though, because when you're standing, the hamstrings are also in a shortened state, just higher up. They're shortened, down low, they're relaxed. But if you sit, it's the inverse relationship. So I wanted to show you a couple of stretches I've mentioned to you before, and some of the other ones that I've been doing. A couple of you have emailed me and said, hey, please don't forget. So here you go. The one I mentioned first in a previous video is get your foot up on the bench or something high, something elevated, so that you are getting some sort of tension. Now what I've noticed in terms of cheating, I've mentioned this before, I'll be more specific now, is that when I get my foot on there, there's still tension holding the hip joint, and it's not like my leg is fully relaxed. So I have to wait and take a couple breaths before it feels like the knee actually relaxes down. Typically, let me reset and see what happens, and we'll see what happens. So when I put my foot on, the knee doesn't actually settle down until about now. Okay, so now it's mostly settled down, but until it has settled down, I actually don't feel much stretch there. So this has actually managed to hide its tightness by keeping my knee just imperceptibly bent. So I gotta wait and wait and wait and focus on feeling something here. Once I feel like this area is kind of awake or kind of getting a little sensation, that's when I can take the strap. I'm just using a pull-up assist band. You can put it around my foot, make sure my knee does not try to bend itself out of this, and then just pull back. Now, I can pull more on that pinky side. So this part is pulling on the pinky toe side, and then I can really accentuate that stretch, and I really feel a lot down near the knee. So that's where the biceps femoris, the lateral hamstring, actually crosses the knee joint. Another thing that I find real helpful is a twist this way. So if you bought Healthy Hips 1, that ebook actually has a lateral hamstring stretch where you're rotating. If you've been using that book and you've been looking for another way to do that stretch a little more intensely, this is a great way to do it. You can just start to hinge in towards the foot, and right here, it's super tight on me. And this is kind of embarrassing, right? But it's really tight going all along the lateral hamstring line, and even like right here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's almost like straight down the middle and then a little bit to the side. You can just feel a lot of tension. I'm also sometimes trying to rotate the whole femur in. So if my foot is up like this, I'll be pulling so that the whole leg and foot are rotating in this way. So again, normally it's vertical, this would be out, and then I'm pulling a bunch on the pinky toe side to go in like that. So leg up, and actually, so now my knee settles a lot easier. I can feel all this kind of relaxed. Pull up on that again, and then rotate, and boom, get a ton of tension in there. And I can even feel that it affects the adductor the adductor magnus back here, but it's not stretching that, but I can tell that the adductor magnus is kind of readjusting. I call this negotiating, right? All these muscle relationships need to renegotiate to figure out how they need to be in relationship to one another. How tight do they need to be? How much tension do they need to be maintaining when another muscle is doing whatever it's doing? So that's a super good stretch right there for me. At the airport, it felt kind of weird to be using a prop. Just, you know, get a little self-conscious when you have thousands of strangers looking at you. So I didn't want to use this strap to do the stretching. So what I did do was just find myself a little corner, and you might have seen this on Instagram. I was just doing a little kneeling hamstring stretch. So the problem here for most people is that it's going to be a little hard on the knee. So you can try to modify this so you are just shifted back a little bit, so you're putting more pressure on the top of the shin bone, the tibia, rather than having any pressure on the ACL or on the kneecap. Those are two things that generally don't feel good to have a lot of pressure on. So if you shift back a little bit, your weight's more on the tibia here, on the tibial platform. There's that little bone you'll feel. That one's usually not so sensitive. So if you're on carpet, it's fine. If you're on concrete, good luck. Use something soft. So I'm going to shift back like that. I feel the weight is on the shin bone, and then I can just gradually push this knee down. You can see where this starts, right? It's a little bent. Just push this knee gradually, slowly down, teaching that muscle to relax. I feel the tension build all up in here, a little bit up into the glutes too, yeah? And I just keep pushing down. I can change my body angle. I can use the wall here. Actually, in this position, I get a really great sensation here. So it's something to notice is that the different torso positions, the different hip angles you're at, will make a difference to how that stretch feels. So here I actually feel a pretty deep stretch up around it actually feels like the hip rotators. I feel a pretty good stretch in there at this position, whereas this position kind of shifts the stretch a little bit. I feel it more behind the knee. So you want to experiment. You can also twist a little bit to get some more different sensations. You can grab the foot. So if I want, I can just grab the foot here, pull back. That feels pretty spectacular. Again, I'm biasing towards that pinky toe side, and that seems to get it really, really well. So that's another option. That's what I was doing at the airport. You could also do it this way if your knee is super sensitive, then you're on your foot. Then you're going to have to almost definitely pull back on the foot to feel it. At least I do. Again, I can experiment, twist around, come up a little bit higher. This feels pretty good. Get a little calf on this one. So another option that I've been playing around with is just like a split stance. A wide stance, not a split stance, and coming over to the side like this and like this. So this has actually improved a lot for me in the last 2 weeks because I've been stretching so much. I think to the right side right now, you'll notice you don't see it too much. On the right side, when I go down like this, like right here, my knee is trying to pop forward. So the hamstrings are not enjoying this motion. But as I slowly go through, like right now I can feel my knee trying to push forward. I just wait it out, right? Wait it out, wait for these muscles to relax. Then I can go further. Right here, I'm starting to feel it again. I'm using my hands now to stop the knee from popping forward. And then it relaxes, and then now I can go a little bit more. No. So you can see this wiggle room that's happening here. That's my body trying to cheat. So you have to be very, very specific. You got to be paying attention and detailed about it to make sure you get these guys to stay open and not trick you. So when I come up, this is where it gets most obvious. When I come up, the knee wants to break, right? It just wants to bend. So I want to get these hamstrings used to working at length, right? From that stretched position, get them used to helping pull me up without pulling the knee into a bend, right? So got to be really careful with this, paying attention here because I can feel it wiggling, and then right there, it's starting to go, nope, 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 and we're up. So there are these sticking points that I've been paying attention to try to get the hamstrings to do what I want them to do, how I want them to do it. So that's 3 options. Those are 3 things that I've been doing a ton of to really focus on getting the hamstrings, getting the lateral hamstrings in particular. They are, 2 of those are with no props. One of them is with a rubber band, so those are some options for you to work with in case you want to see, how good your knees can feel if you do some dedicated stretching. In terms of number of minutes or how much time, I generally suggest people do these things for at least a minute. Real good stretching takes at least 1 minute to 2 minutes. Because you're generally standing on one leg doing this, it can be a little bit tough, not only for your mental attention, but just physically maintaining your balance. So there's a final thing I'll show you, which is just lying down. And this is what I've been doing on the couch watching TV. So you can do it just like lying on your back like this. And my buddy Shane, who some of you may know from the FAI Fix, my buddy Shane likes doing these little kicks to kind of get the body used to this awkward position and working in this awkward position. And you can see how much shaking is happening here because the hamstrings just do not like working in this position. Okay. The other thing you can do is twist off to the side like this. So you can see I'm bringing it over and across my body, and then same thing, I can be doing some kicks, firing my quads, trying to keep that knee straight. A couple options there, right? And just trying to feel that stretch going all along the lateral hamstrings. So you can give that a shot too. That feels super good on my hips, especially after I've been sitting for 2.5 hours. So that's going to conclude the report and exercises for day 16 following my knee injury. Oh, I do also want to mention that I was able to front squat yesterday. Did a front squat with just 95 pounds just to feel that. I used some kettlebells also, just did some warm-up squats. The knee was able to handle up to 95 pounds for 1 set of 5, but after that set, I tried to do another set and I could feel things had tightened up and the knee didn't want to function properly, so I just went back to stretching. I did do Bulgarian split squats with 20 pounds in each hand, and that worked out totally fine. That one was perfect. But doing full front squats, the knee isn't quite ready for it. Definitely need to keep stretching and keep getting things better. There may also be stuff that just needs some time to heal since something did shift out of place in a rather traumatic way. So that's it. I hope that helps you out, gives you some perspective, gives you a little inspiration, and I hope that you remember that pain sucks. Life shouldn't.